This is Kevin Delaney. He's an LA voice actor who provides workout sessions with those who are interested in voiceover. About a year ago, I took one of his courses, and during one of our sessions, there was something he said that really spoke to me. You have already qualified to become a voice actor. Do not let anyone convince you that you aren't good enough. Just be you. With these words in mind, I've never been more positive in my outlook. I've never enjoyed anything more than voice acting. But where did this passion come from, and who influenced it? Today, I'd like to tip my hat to the 5 guys who fueled my fire. These 5 voice actors made it clear how I wanted to live my life. I'd never been fond of standing in the spotlight, and I've tried live acting a few times, and it just didn't seem to work for me. Instead, I've grown a fancy for being the voice behind the screen. Also, just a note, though it should be obvious, this list is going to consist of male actors only. I know a lot of talented voice actors who are female, Hendon Walsh, Laura Bailey, and Tara Strong to name a few, but this list is about the voiceover father figures. So without further ado, let's take a look at my 5 influential voice actors. When you're growing up, you find the characters you grew up with to be icons that shape you into how you want to be portrayed. When you see Clint Eastwood being a badass, you think, man, I want to be just as cool as him. When you see Stephen Colbert and how funny he can be, you think, man, I want to be as funny as that guy. And in my case, when you hear the voice of Kevin Michael Richardson, you think, wow, I want those vocals. This man's voice has power. When you hear his voice in whatever cartoon, movie, or video game he's in, your ears are locked on that sound. It's stern, strong, and menacing, so you'll most likely hear it connected to a villain or a monster of some sort.
There is undoubtedly a fascinating story in how my old nemesis came to teach ninjutsu to 4 mutant turtles.
I would constantly imitate his dialogue growing up because I just pictured it as the ideal voice of the devil. One of the earliest pieces I could remember was his voice as Hulk Davidson in Fire Leo from the video game Viewtiful Joe, though I think most of you guys remember him as the voice of Captain Gantu from Lilo and Stitch.
Uncomfortable? Oh, good. The council has banished you.
Listening to Kevin's work, I found the technique to hit the higher notes at a lower register. Consider this. How often do you hear someone sing along to a song on the radio, and they try to match the pitch to the point where your eardrums pop a vessel? However, if you just take the whole song down to a lower and sexier level, the entirety sounds much more pleasant to listen to. Don't believe me? Check out Tay Zonde's covers, and you'll see what I mean. Speaking of sexy voices, let's give a nod to the former voice of Geico, DC Douglas. One of the things that is so great about DC Douglas is the fact that he not only does his job well, but he seems to have a blast while doing it. The best example I can give is his voice of Albert Wesker from Resident Evil 5. He made that game for me. He also went on to do multiple Wesker parodies ranging from an Old Spice ad to a voicemail.
In less than 5 minutes, we'll reach Vader's Death Star.
DC Douglas also voices numerous characters from other video games, and he just seems like a real chill guy who doesn't take anything personally, which I think is very vital when you're trying to be a talent. You may know him as Luke Skywalker, but I know him as one of the greatest voice actors of all time. This is mainly for his role as the Joker from Batman, the animated series. Yeah, I know, Heath Ledger did a fantastic portrayal, no duh, but Mark Hamill will always be the Joker to me. The voice, the laugh, the mannerisms, they're all owned by Hamill. But that's not all. Mark Hamill has portrayed a variety of characters from video games, anime, and television shows, ranging from Kingdom Hearts to Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Whew, what a mouthful. One of the most powerful words Hamill has ever said about voiceover is this.
I love voiceover animation because people can't see you. You make these choices that you would never do if you were doing a live action role.
Now I can relate to this feeling. Like I said before, things get odd when I'm aware that I'm being seen by numerous eyes. All my hand gestures, my body language, and my facial expressions are much more comfortable to pull off behind the microphone rather than in front of the camera. It's an actor's comfort zone that brings out the best in us, and I'm glad Mark Hamill has found his with voice acting. Now go out there and kill it in episode 7, Mark Hamill. You rock.
It won't have to be. Look, it's me! The Clown Prince of Crime, and also your father. No, that's not true, that's impossible! Get used to it, kiddo.
Jim Cummings is an icon in the voiceover world. His vocal range is incredible, and he has been known to pull off a large variety of characters. Villains, main characters, lackeys, captain of the guard, random NPC, you name it, Jim has done it. Jim seems to be the go-to voiceover guy for any role, and no matter how small that part is, Jim will give it 110%. I'm convinced the man never turns a role down, and is always willing to try anything and master it. Just look on IMDb and marvel at what all this man has done in his career. Disney, Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers, Square Enix. The man has done it all, and he continues to grow. If there's one thing I'll always remember Jim for, it's the fact that he's a man who loves doing voiceover. He eats, breathes, and sleeps voiceover, and that's exactly how a good performer should live. Whether you didn't know it till now or not, we owe all our respects to Jim, the man of 1,000 voices. My number one choice is not because he voices the iconic mascot that is Mario, nor the fact that he's a talented performer altogether. No, Charles Martinet is my number one influence because of his personality and words of wisdom through his interviews, events, and public speaking. Charles Martinet has the most good-feel, morale-boosting words I've ever heard from a talent. I could watch his interviews for days upon days and just let the words soak in. In fact, I'm going to just let Charles do the talking for a moment.
Study acting, because voiceover acting, it's all about technique. Get Stanislavski, go to classes, learn to observe human beings and learn to see how people are different. You know, that somebody with a big jaw, you might go in a cartoon that you're watching, I talk like that. Thank you for being such great fans and for, you know, having such passion and joy in the games and the anime and the things that you do, because I think that's a lesson to the whole wide world. It's a way of making a map, you know, when you live with your heart and your joy and your passion and with complete freedom like you guys do in the pursuit of what is your happiness, you know, that's the greatest thing about being who we are.
God bless you, Charles Martinet. You give hope to the youth and smiles to everyone worldwide. Also, Charles Martinet has the greatest success story ever told in the history of voice acting.
I'd never seen Mario. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what, what I was going in for because the system had never been invented. And the producer said, well, we don't know if it's going to work or not, but either way, you're going to talk to people of all ages, so start talking. And when you run out of things to say, that's it. And I thought, instead of a voice that's gruff and harsh, I want to do something that children be more pleased to have and, more gentle and more, embracing and more fun. And just by great circumstance, that's the voice that came out was, it's me, Mario. Okie dokie, let's make a pizza pie together. You go get some sausage. I'm going to get some spaghetti. We're going to put the spaghetti and the sausage in the sweet pizza. Then I'm going to chase you with the pizza. If I catch you with the pizza, you got to chase me with the pizza. But first you got to eat the pizza. Then you're going to chase me. Then we're going to make a spaghetti meatballs. If I make you the spaghetti meatballs, I catch you with the spaghetti meatballs. Then you got to eat the meatballs. Oh, mamma mia. And I don't know what I said, but for on and on and on for 30 minutes until I heard, cut, stop talking. There's no more tape. Thank you, we'll be in touch. And I thought at the time, well, okay, we'll be in touch means goodbye. We'll never call you. But of course, I left the room. The producer got on the phone and called Nintendo. I found our Mario.
Here is a man who has fun doing what he loves, seizes the moment, and never sweats the small stuff. He's my inner courage and an inspiration to countless voiceovers. You'd be surprised how much work Charles has done. I mean, the man voices a dragon in Skyrim of all things. So there you have it. 5 talents that keep me going on a day-to-day basis in pursuing my dreams and following my heart. I wish them all the best of futures, for they made mine all the clearer. Thanks for watching.